Cameroon commemorates the World Consumer Rights Day under the theme, The Sustainable Consumer. As they put the consumer on the spotlight, we find the efforts consumer associations have made in defending their rights. And the new leader of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon for the next 5 years have been installed. The Right Reverend Funky Foba Samuel takes over command as moderator for a second term, while Reverend Mickey Hans Abia steps in as the new synod clerk. Those are top stories. And thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News with me, Gladys Tata. Another confirmed case of the COVID-19 has been detected today in the country, making a total of 4 cases in Cameroon. So far, the government has put appropriate measures to contain the virus at entries into the country. To that effect, the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, in a circular, has suspended any missions abroad for heads of ministerial departments, except missions of extreme necessity. Due to the high risk posed by the virus, the Church is equally taking measures and proposing certain behaviors for Christians to adopt in order to prevent contamination. School authorities, on their part, are sensitizing pupils on how to prevent an imminent infection. And consumers in Cameroon think their rights are violated on a daily basis. They say traders change prices at will, and the quantities inscribed on products are not always reflected on the content inside, consequently trampling on their rights, while consumer associations watch without any major action. Beatrice Ngum went downtown Yaoundé and says while consumers say their defense organs are inactive, these organs think they have made results in certain areas. Beatrice?
Consumers have rights, but their rights are not always respected, they say. Vendors violate them through price hikes, while manufacturers disregard them.
Prices are not stable. If you go to the supermarket, you get to notice that the kilogram of chocolate is not actually the same as it's supposed to be, because buying it and taking it home, instead of it to be filled, it's half. You go same to milk, it is half. You go to things like matches, household utensils, which is supposed to be filled as before. Presently, it's now half.
Complaints on poor water supply, electricity cuts, and airtime theft are also common among consumers. They say they table complaints daily at defense organs.
The most common complaint we receive is the lack of water, because consumers complaining everyday life. They have no potable water in their everyday life. Prices are changed time to time without advising them, and then it is painful for them.
Yet, consumers think their worries are not relayed by those who are supposed to defend them.
Those who are supposed to fight for us are not doing their job. So associations that are fighting for consumers' rights, they have to do their job by trying to go to the market to control the prices.
But the consumer associations say they do their best to protect consumers' rights.
As concerns mobile telephones, we have results. Consumers have been taken into account. They no longer receive messages in their phones abusively. We're also focusing on the use of pesticides on products like pineapples to ripen them faster. We want producers to adopt good agricultural practices.
As the world celebrates World Consumers Day, it's another opportunity to strike a balance between consumers, consumer associations, and manufacturers.
We now take you over to the far north region, where the problem of water scarcity in Marwa continues to be a thorn in the flesh on the inhabitants. Residents of Doualare, one of the most populated neighborhoods in Marwa, say they go for a whole day without the precious liquid. The population is therefore pleading to the powers that be to remedy the situation, as Henry Tato Ekambi tells us from CRTV Far North in Marwa.
Getting the precious liquid in some neighborhoods in Marwa has become an uphill task for the population. Some inhabitants have to go an extra mile to get water. This is the case of Hajaratu, who says she has no choice but to get adapted to the situation.
To get water, I'm obliged to wake up as early as 3 a.m. every day, and I have to work for hours. It's really not easy, but I have no choice.
The scarcity of water in Marwa has also pushed the inhabitants of Doualare and Lugeo to resort to other means so as to have access to water. Others say they have other options.
We buy a 20-liter jug of water at 50 francs. We also use our motorbikes to go and fetch water in case the truck pushers are busy.
Some inhabitants have even gone further to resort to water rationing and to manage the little they have. Some take their bath once a day. Despite the hot climate, this water scarcity has also come with some difficulties.
Even in the night, during the day, I had to go to carry the water, but it was not hygienic. The water was poor.
Hoping that their tears shall be replaced by smiles, inhabitants of Doualare in Marwa remain optimistic that the powers that be shall react in time.
Some 120 non-commissioned officers who have undergone a 4-year training at the 301 Air Force Base in Garwa have received attestations, jointly offered by the Daniel Technical Academy and the 301 Air Force Base. The ceremony was chaired by Major General Philip Pai in the presence of Brigadier General Aga Robinson of the 3rd Military Region and his counterpart of the 3rd Gendarmerie Region, Lubazal. Details with our North Regional correspondent, Wilson Mengole.
There are 120 non-commissioned officers in number who've graduated from the Garwa 301 Air Force Base as aeronautic engineers specialized in aircraft mechanic, aircraft structure, air radio and welding. The officers spent 4 years in South Africa at the Daniel Technical Academy and 7 months at the Garwa 301 Air Force Base, where they were schooled on basic military training, psychotechnical tests, pedagogy and active shooting.
A very good quality training. It was very tough because we were not expecting this, all the challenges that we face, but finally I can say that we are very proud of ourselves and we are very happy that the government made all these efforts to make us what we are now. We became civilian, now we are military and we are ready to serve our country.
A training which, according to General Jean-Cave Momha, was apt.
Those non-commissioned officers have been trained on various specialties in the area of maintenance of aircraft. So we are very happy to have completed this training, and I think that they will be very useful for the maintenance of our aircraft here in Cameroon.
The 19 girls and 101 boys will now have to put behind them merrymaking and face the tasks ahead of them.
Accident-related offences committed by road users will be systematically sanctioned. The head of the Road Safety Detachment on the Yaoundé-Makenene Highway, Major Biloua Lui, told reporters this Saturday. He was speaking after impounding a sand truck for plying the highway with a punctured and 2 worn-out tires. Elvis Teke watched the road safety team at work. His report.
Preventing road accidents through sensitization, surveillance and sanctions are the main activities of the Road Safety Squadron of the National Gendarmerie on the highways. This weekend, on the Yaoundé-Makenene Highway, the squadron has been encouraging road users to always wear seat belts, carry a valid fire extinguisher and a reflective triangle for personal security.
We carry out sensitization on the use of seat belts, triangles, and the respect of the highway code.
Commuters were also sensitized to call the toll-free number 1501 to report officers who violate their right in a bid to ensure sanity within the corps. Despite the continuous presence of gendarmes on the highways, over 30 vehicles were penalized for the non-respect of the highway code.
Too many people who are dying every day in the roads. It's not normal. Those who are using the road, they should respect the indications.
Henceforth, driving with worn-out tires is a criminal offense, this driver was told. He says he had been stopped for driving for over 30 kilometers with a punctured tire and another one that was worn out. The gendarmes have also impounded the vehicle and say he will be detained till the tires are replaced.
Newly elected MPs of the February 9th municipal and legislative elections will receive their attributes tomorrow at a solemn ceremony at the Glass House in Guakele. The 167 will begin the session while waiting for the 22nd March partial election rerun, which will elect the other MPs at the different constituencies. And we take you now to the Southwest region, where stakeholders of the program for sustainable national resources in the Southwest region have adopted the action plan for 2020. That was during a steering committee meeting of the project that took place in Boya. The meeting was chaired by Cameroon's Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Jules Dorendongo, in the presence of some key partners and other actors of the project. It is worth noting that the project is co-financed by German structure. Charles Abuno of CRTV Southwest was also at that meeting. He put together this report.
Since the inception of the project, many poachers have been trained on a variety of income-generating activities such as agriculture, fisheries, animal industries, amongst others. Others have been given employment as tour guides. The objective of all of this is to discourage poaching and provide people in communities with sustainable sources of income and preserve forest ecosystems in the 4 forest reserves in the Southwest region. A number of recommendations were made at the latest steering committee meeting with a view to enhancing the impact that the project has on the target communities.
We have also decided to increase the number of collaborator on the field for this program. So we are supposed to send some staff personnel here. We shall take some measures to do it very quickly. We have also decided to update the decision creating the committee.
The implementation of Phase 4 of the project is set to be accelerated following the latest steering committee meeting.
And on to one of our lead stories, the re-elected moderator of the PCC, the Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, and the new synod clerk, Reverend Mike Hans Abia, have been told to feed and draw the Christians nearer to God. It was during the Thanksgiving service of the moderator and the induction ceremony of the 2 new officers, which took place at PCSS Boya Town. The event was attended by a cream of PCC officials, Southwest Governor Okalia Bilai, and PM's representative in the person of the Director of Cabinet, Balungeli Confiance Ebune. Regina Ngale Ndoko reports from CRTV Southwest in Boya.
The physical and spiritual growth of the PCC now rests on their shoulders. Elected by the 2019 Synod, the moderator, who is in for his 2nd mandate, and the newly inducted Synod clerk have now been vested to carve out the roadmap of the Church while fostering the work of Christ on earth. In the presence of Presbyterian Christians, sister denominations and partner organizations, the clergy thanked God for taking the Church through turbulent times while urging the 2 new leaders to remain true to their calling.
We rely on God's strength, for we know that when God calls, when He appoints Himself, anoints and makes us willing and gives us the strength to carry on.
The 5-year mandate, captioned Wake Up, Watch Out, seeks to revive the Church as an agent of change in the society.
We Christians of the PCC must champion a new Cameroon and a new PCC. We must watch out on the tricks of the devil, on what it means to be a Christian, on our values, and to transmit those values to the Christians of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon and to the nation of Cameroon.
The event witnessed the distribution of humanitarian aid to IDPs, a fundraising for the construction of a new synod office, and the commission of the synod executive. All these unfolded in the presence of the representative of the head of state, Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai, and the Prime Minister's representative, Confiance Ebune.
Faithfuls of the St. Anthony of Padua parish at Tugebe have been exhorted to contribute their quota in building the house of God. The call was made this Sunday by the Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Lordship Jean Barga, while on a pastoral visit where he laid the foundation stone of a new church building. Gerald Nanji tells us more.
The St. Anthony of Padua Parish Etukebe has witnessed a dramatic increase in its population, reason for the expansion of its church building. On a pastoral visit to that parish this Sunday, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, Monseigneur Jean Barga, while laying the foundation stone of the new church edifice, called on faithful to contribute their quota in the house of worship.
One of the most projects we decided to do is the building of the church. That is explained that today we have this layer of the first stone of the church. I pray God to bless this project and invite all the faithful to be involved to succeed it after 5 years.
The 150 million franc state-of-the-art project will address the issue of space with extra offices.
We have to come at church and sit down without any problem.
We cannot welcome people here because the church is not big, it's not good. So I'm very happy because we are going to have a new church.
To this effect, there was a realization of over 700,000 francs CFA from a fundraising to launch the project.
St. Anthony of Padua Parish, we go over to the Terrestre Bilingual College in the East region of Cameroon, where the students and teachers have rounded off activities marking the 59th edition of the college feast with a Thanksgiving Mass. While officiating the Mass, the Archbishop of Bertoua Diocese, His Grace Joseph Atanga, implored the celebrants to uphold virtues worthy of the Catholic Church. Elizabeth Bombone Agbo tells us more from CRTV East.
59 years gone down memory lane, the Terrestre Bilingual College stands tall in the secondary education sector in the East region. They are grateful to God the Father and to the founder Jacques Terrestre. Thus, there is on that of a Thanksgiving Mass on the occasion of the college feast.
Whenever we come together, it is an opportunity for us to thank the Lord and to thank all those who are helping us. The youth have to be proud of the education they are receiving. The parents are doing their part, the teachers, and they themselves have to work hard so that tomorrow they be the best.
As the Terrestre Education family celebrates, they showcase their know-how to the public via the Open Door Days. The kickoff was given by the Inspector General in charge of regional services at the East Governor's Office, Jacques Wolso. But before then, the upper seat and terminal students were all given the opportunity to teach in what they term the graduate day.
Today, there is no other teachers. Students of terminal and upper seat have to teach their young brothers, and they have to take our offices and to answer to all questions concerning the school.
The students on their part were elated to be in the classrooms.
We are here in Form 2. Presently, we are teaching chemistry.
This day is very important for us because we are able to show that we've passed through the secondary school and we are able to transmit all the knowledge that we acquired to the others.
The rendezvous has been taken for next year when the school will clock 60 years of existence.
We now take you over to the Far North region, where youths in that part of the region have taken a patriotic walk for President Paul Biya to say that Cameroon is one and indivisible. Let's hook over with Marwa with this report.
The Patriotic Walk for Peace and Living Together, organized by youths of the Far North region, kick-started at the Pontvert neighborhood, one of the crowd-pulling areas in Marwa, which still bears the scars of an explosion masterminded by Boko Haram terrorists few years back. It is to say no to such barbaric acts and in a bid to turn the page of violence and open that of peace, unity and living together, that the youths turn out to express their desire to see their country forge ahead as one nation.
We came out today in mass, the youth of Marwa, in order to give a go-ahead to our government to continue in their efforts in order to stop the war and all the violences that are happening.
Peace has no price. Unity is what we need. That is why I have decided to join this work as a patriot.
Brandishing placards with messages stating their expectations, among which feature no to terrorism, secession and manipulation, yes to one and indivisible Cameroon. The youths all worked with flags to showcase their patriotism.
Nowadays, if we want to be developed, we have to build this peace. It is the reason why all young students in the Far North region have decided to build one more space in our region.
After walking for over 30 minutes, the youth restated their determination to promote peace and living together in their country.
The maiden edition of the Manticore Festival of the people of Balezeng in the Upper Plateau Division of the West Region has come to a close with a showcase of the cultural prowess of the locality. A week-long cultural festival which served as platform for sons and daughters of Balezeng from Cameroon and beyond to reflect on ways to foster the growth of their culture. 4 government ministers took part, amongst which Minister Bilingual of Arts and Culture, who described the festival as a true reflection of Balezeng man. Emanuela Vemio was there. Her report.
Rhythms of the Nkungan dance take over the land as the cultural flames ignite the Balezeng community into a show and tell of what their culture incarnates. But first, a parade to welcome all guests. A curiosity to first-timers and a glory moment for indigenes. Everyone is a part, the Queen Mothers too, but the initiation dance performed by the Fons sends the crowd jubilating. The maiden edition of the Manticore Festival of the Balezeng People West Region received the presence of 4 government ministers and other dignitaries. His Royal Highness Pascal Fuamene, paramount ruler of Balezeng, describes the 7-day festival as a rare moment to unite all indigenes to foster their destiny and preserve their cultural identity. The Balezeng clan then gets a new son to the land who receives his attributes before them all. In his capacity as Minister of Arts and Culture, Bilingual has described the Manticore Festival as one that propagates artistic creativity.
I am so glad at this moment to see such a huge gathering of important personality taking part in this event. The fact that we are willing to celebrate our rich cultural diversity.
The culture of the Balezeng people in all its facets has been served to onlookers who now have a story or two to tell about these people so true to their origin.
The translated version of the Holy Bible in the Kwanjang language has officially been presented to Kwanjang sons and daughters in Mayo Banyo in the Adamawa region. During the presentation of the translated version, clergymen from different denominations lauded the initiative of the actors and described it as a source of blessing to the people. Ellis Waji Banmia tells us more from CRTV Adamawa.
This solemn procession marks the beginning of a new religious era for the Kwanja people in the Mayo Banyo division of the Adamawa. They will henceforth read and know more about God following the translation of the Bible in the Kwanja language.
This translated version has the Old and New Testaments. It is the outcome of 30 years of hard work.
During the presentation of the 718-page book in Nyambuya village, men of God from different local church denominations showed up. Guests, villagers and groups of churchgoers dressed in their finest were all excited, claiming the long-awaited moment to read the Bible in their mother tongue has come.
This is a wonderful gift of God to the Kwanja people, and I pray that God uses that word for the good of people and to draw more and more people to know Him. I recommend that.
Joyful and grateful speeches as well as prayers went through the microphone as all welcomed God's word in the Kwanja language. Heads of different translation bodies took turns to reiterate that the new translated version of the Bible must help the people to live in love and harmony just as Christ Jesus preached.
Ever heard of the boy base at the port of Douala? That's where a special page Discovery takes us tonight, as authorities of the port of Douala say they are doing everything to ensure that container ships do not spend much time at the boy base, contrary to reports from detractors. Our tour guide tonight is Scholar Maloke from CRTV Littoral.
A buoy is this object that floats in water. It is used in the middle of the seas as locators or as warning points for ships. There is also this area known as Boy Base, which serves a particular purpose other than the ones listed above.
It is an area where any boat which comes to a country has to be while waiting for authorization to enter.
Though vessels like fuel tankers can spend longer time at this Boy Base of the port of Douala, others are treated as priority for a purpose.
Here at the port of Douala, container ships do not stay long at the Boy Base because it is the life of an entire country. We are lucky here because the sooner the container ships are emptied, the circulation becomes fluid.
It should also be mentioned that there is a procedure to follow before a ship can be allowed to berth in the port.
When a ship is coming into a country, it has a representative or shipping agent who negotiates with authorities of the port to reserve space for the ship to berth.
Ports of Douala have taken all necessary measures to ensure that ships anchored at the Boy Base are guarded by the National Marine and the ship can stay there for any length of time without paying a fee.
The mayors of Mbonge and Konya councils in Memet Division and their deputies have been called upon to respect the law governing the issuance of civil status documents. The call was made by the president of the Court of First Instance in Kumba, Justice Hannah Itoe Egbe, during the oath-taking ceremony of the newly elected municipal authorities of the two councils. Details with Charles Abono of CRTV Southwest in Boya.
During the ceremony, the mayor of Konya, Barrister George Musimalobe, and the mayor of Mbonge, Chief Daniel Mata Mukambe, pledged not only to uphold the law, but also to serve the people of their municipalities and Cameroon as a whole in fairness and justice. After taking the oath of office, the presiding judge reminded the municipal authorities to remain law-abiding and never to find themselves wanting. That if they do, the law would be very, very hard on them.
We have to be conscious of our actions, that we don't carry out actions that are contrary to our oath. We have to serve the nation with due diligence, that our commitment to the state should be what is within our mind.
For many, the fact that the law warrants that mayors are sworn in is a clear testimony that the government is serious in conferring real authority in the hands of local officials.
And on to sports, Overdose of Yaoundé and FAB Basketball Club have emerged leaders of the first phase of the final stage of the National Basketball Championship, known as the Final Four. Overdose outplayed University of Douala 72-35 baskets in the women's category, while FAB men thrashed Loncam 84-59 points. Daniel Ekonde watched today's game at the external court of the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. His report.
Aware of their status as defending champions, Overdose kicked off the clean sweep with an 81-21 win over Ecole de Basket Douala on Friday, then cut through last year's beaten finalists FAB 63-46. Today's game against University of Douala was just to put the finishing touches to a remarkable 3-0 series victory. They crossed 72-35, taking the leadership to the final grouping in 2 weeks' time in Douala.
We are prepared. We are fully prepared. We are always winning and we are victorious. As you can see, the same spirit we won here, we are taking it to the next level.
Meanwhile, FAB Yaoundé made light work of Loncam in their final men's game after beating University of Douala and scraping through 99-97 against Onyx on Saturday. Among today's scorers in the 84-59 rout is this forward who rated in 12 points.
It's been a long fight from day one to this day 3, so we had to stay focused, play according to what the coach was asking us to do, and then we were sure that we were going to have all the wins. We were ready for it.
Having lost last year's final, collectivity is driving FAB ahead.
It's a unity team because we play together and we try to help us each other. That is the main thing that helps us to win the game.
The return games in the Final Four will be played between March 28 and 29.
And that was the 7:30 news, in which you heard that Cameroon has commemorated the World Consumer Rights Day under the theme The Sustainable Consumer. A spotlight was put on the efforts of consumer associations in fighting for their rights, and the new leaders of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon for the next 5 years were installed. The Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba has taken over command as moderator for a second term, while Reverend Mickey Hans Abia steps in as the new synod clerk. And thanks for watching. Atabadine Omar will be here at 8:30 for the news in French. Until then, it's bye from all of us on the 7:30 crew. But don't forget, Ben Meno Pufon will be your host as from tomorrow. I'll be here again on Friday. Until then, bye-bye.